Hello and welcome to LaRosa Reads. I'm Denise LaRosa, and today I'm sharing all of my August reading plans with all of you.
And since it's my birthday month as well, I'll be doing my TBR too.
All right, let's talk books. Well. What do you know? One of the LaRosa girls decided to finally join me this year. Gianna, for your birthday, I guess you decide to grace us with your presence because I have been having a very difficult time getting my daughters to appear on LaRosa Reads this year. So, hi G.
Hi.
So, let's share our reading plans. Shall we go back and forth?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do that. So, let's start with me because I'm a phenomenal mother. I picked up Shae by Mesha Marin, and I cannot wait to dive in. I first heard about this book from Russell over at Ink and Paper Blog, and I knew it was a book I had to get in my hands ASAP. And that I did whenever I traveled to my hometown in West Virginia. I went to my favorite indie bookstore there, A New Chapter, and I am thrilled to have this on my reading plans for August. So we're talking about a character who is from a small town in West Virginia, much like myself, and she's 16 years old. She meets Cam, who is new to their small town in West Virginia, and she thinks that she has found someone who is everything she has ever wanted in a companion. The two become fast friends and then more, and when Shae ends up pregnant, Cam begins a different transition, trying on clothes that Shae can no longer fit into and using female pronouns. Shae tries to be fully supportive as Cam becomes the person she wants and needs to be. So, we've got a lot going on here in this small town, and I cannot wait to learn more.
Okay. This month I read Curlfriends by Sherry Miller, and it's basically about this girl who is just joining a new school because her dad was in the army and they were like bouncing around from place to place, and he finally settled down. So Charlie really wants to make a good first impression because this is her last chance to make friends. So she gets all ready, does her hair and stuff, and then goes to school. And the second that she walks through the front door, a big bucket of water from the cleaning crew falls on her head and ruins everything. And she's really upset. But she did bring an extra sweatshirt, so that's good. But her hair is still messed up. So another girl comes into the bathroom and does her hair for her, and they start to become friends. And she goes to lunch that day and meets a bunch of other people who end up becoming like her friends. And she's really nervous about this, and a lot of other crazy things happened, but she realized that in the end she just has to be herself.
I love that. Awesome. Yay! And we got it signed too, which is super cool.
Yeah.
We love Shae Miller.
Yeah.
And then I ventured off to the library and walked away with so many books, and I'm hoping to get to all of them, this one being The Good Ones Are Taken. I have no idea, that this book existed. I had no idea, I should say, until I was at the library, and I could not resist. The title, the cover art. Taj McCoy, I don't really know anything about you or your books. I don't know if this is a debut, but I do know this book was calling my name. After a bad breakup, Maggie wants to find her Prince Charming, but all she finds are frogs. When her best friends, Savvy and Joan, apply pressure and demand she find a date worthy of attending their respective weddings, she agrees to take her own advice and try online dating. Since she's the maid of honor for both weddings, her bridal party duties are massive, but both brides insist that Maggie prioritize finding a date. After an onslaught of maybes, no's, and heck no's, she's close to giving up when she meets a handsome doctor at the gym who just might be the one. Meanwhile, her college bestie, Garrett, throws salt in everyone's game. At every turn, he points out the red flags and tells Maggie to keep looking. Things come to a head when Maggie demands that Garrett be happy for her, and he finally admits that he can't because why? He's probably in love with her. Oh, yay. I don't need to read any more to know that this book will be a delight.
Okay, so this book I haven't read yet, but it's the second book in a series called Making Friends. This is Back to the Drawing Board. Almost everything is going great for Danny. She and Madison are still best friends. She still has her magic sketchbook, and the new school year is actually looking up. But after Danny creates a duplicate of herself to help her with homework and raise her social status, they accidentally unleash a supernatural havoc around town. And with the big school dance coming up, time is running out for Danny and her double to set things right before the night is ruined. Dun dun dun.
Well, and you did start a little bit of that when we were in West Virginia, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's pretty good so far. And the first Making Friends book was a 5-star, so this is probably going to be a 5-star as well.
Nice. Y'all, this title was screaming LaRosa Read Me, because y'all know me and my Hot Mess Express behavior. I am so quirky, and so give me a quirky title and you've got me invested. Sisters with a side of greens, baby. You know this book has LaRosa written all over it. All right, we got sisters. I'm assuming we've got greens. We've got a good, delicious time, I hope. Sisters Rose Tillman and Marvina Nash haven't spoken in decades. Not since Rose sent Marvina $40 to register their business and Marvina used that money for her own personal purposes. Well, now retired, Rose wants to open the restaurant they'd once dreamed of. But to her horror, Rose realizes she's forgotten their mother's secret spice recipe, known to only one other person in the world. You guessed it. With no other option, Rose embarks on a 2-hour drive to Marvina's house back to Fork City, Texas. Marvina has her own version of what caused their falling out, and it's a far cry from what Rose recalls. Marvina, skeptical and still indignant, but incurably polite, figures she'll give Rose a chance to speak her piece before closing the door in her face. As the sisters fight their way to forgiveness, they unpack their complicated past, form an unexpected alliance with a young mother-to-be, and reconnect through the tantalizing aroma of chicken dinners that hold the power to heal or divide a community. Well, sounds very juicy to me. What do you think, Miss G?
Yeah, seriously.
All right, sisters with a side of greens, let's do this.
So this book is called Crumbs, and it is a romance novel, I think. Falling in love just got sweeter. In a very special town, there's an even more unusual bakery with a selection of baked treats handcrafted to help your dreams come true. For Ray, a quiet young woman with special powers of her own, the order is always the same. A hot tea with a delicious side of romance. When Ray meets Laurie, the kind barista who aspires to be a professional musician, she gets a real taste of love for the first time. But even with a spark of magic, romance isn't so simple. Both Ray and Laurie are chasing their own dreams, and even when Ray starts to see the future, she can't predict her fate with Laurie.
Okay, that is interesting. This one is YAG, and you said that a friend of yours read it and loved it. So we shall see. Of course, I perused, and I think that it's mommy approved, and you and I talk very openly with each other, so we'll be sure to have conversations, and I can answer any questions you may have. What do you think about that?
Sure.
Another library find that was not in view until I stepped into that space that I love, is Women of Good Fortune. Okay, this cover, y'all, this cover. I knew nothing about it, but the cover was giving. The title was giving. And so I had to check it out. What's happening? We've got Lulu. Lulu has always been taught that money is the ticket to a good life. So when Shanghai's most eligible bachelor surprises her with a proposal, the only acceptable answer is yes, even if the voice inside her head is saying no. His family's fortune would solve all her parents' financial woes, but Lulu isn't in love or ready for marriage. Aww. The only people she can confide in are her two best friends, career-minded Rena, who is tired of being passed over for promotion while her male colleagues are rewarded, and Jane, a sharp-tongued, luxury-chasing housewife desperate to divorce her husband and trade up. I love friends like that. We all got those friends, and we're better off for it. Yes, so each of them desires something different. Freedom, time, beauty. None of them can get it without money. Lulu's wedding is their golden opportunity, the social event of the season. It means more than enough cash gifts to transform the women's lives. To steal the money on the big day, all they need is a trustworthy crew and a brilliant plan they're stealing. But as the plot grows increasingly complicated and relationships are caught in the crossfires, the women are forced to face that having it all might come at a steep price. Oh, don't you love it when you find those books at the library that you didn't know you needed, but you so did? Gee, what do you think of this one?
Sound interesting.
That it does. Diverse Spines is an amazing IG account that I have spoke of here on LaRosa Reads in the past, and I continue to enjoy their content. And I am so humbled and honored that I won one of their giveaways, and it was to receive a free copy of the ARC for Swift River. And I am thrilled that this book is in my hands. I already began reading it a while ago, and I thought, let me save this for August, close to the release of the book. I just felt like that would be a good time to dive in. I'm already 30 pages in, and y'all, it is so good. We're talking about the 1980s and a young woman who's like a young girl. I believe she's like a tween or teen. She's like 12-ish, I think. Forgive me. Somewhere between 12 and 16. And her father disappears. Her mother is identifies as white. Her father identified as black. So she is a biracial young woman, a biracial teenager in an area that does not really appreciate that. It's not very diverse. It's very white. And we got some racism going on. Anywho's, her father mysteriously disappeared. All of a sudden, one day, she receives communication from one of his sisters that is really strange, that's leading her to believe that maybe her father has not passed, but it has been years, a long time since he was last seen. There's just mystery surrounding this now that wasn't before she got this communication. I'm enjoying it so far. The setup was really powerful. I have a good sense of the characters. The mom is a little prickly. Baby girl is dealing with weight issues. And so between her identifying as biracial and being on the heavier side, she's dealing with a lot there. And now this layer with her father. They also are living in poverty, she and her mother. So a lot is going on, and I think it's just going to be a searing read. The writing is great. So shout out to this debut author. Essie Chambers is doing her thing. I'm seeing her all over the place in the media, and I just wish her the best. Can't wait to read this. Thank you, Diverse Spines. Before we go, there is a book that you're going to be listening to via audiobook for school, called This Side of Home by Renee Watson. I'm curious about this book. It happened to be on my TBR before it was one of your required reads. So it looks like there's identical twins, Nikki and Maya. They've been on the same page for everything with friends, school boys, all the things. And then they start off their adult lives at a historically Black college. But as their neighborhood goes from rough and tumble to up and coming, suddenly filled with pretty coffee shops and boutiques, that's called gentrification, Nikki is thrilled while Maya feels like their home is slipping away. Suddenly, the sisters who had always shared everything must confront their dissenting feelings on the importance of their ethnic and cultural identities, and in the process learn to separate themselves from the long shadow of their identity as twins. And this is YA. Like, okay, 7th grader, reading the YAs. What do you think of that synopsis, G?
I don't know. I just can't wait to read it, I guess.
Okay. Can you?
Twin, where have you been? Nobody knows me.
Okay. Speaking of twins,
Where have you been?
where have you been, girl? Because the people on LaRosa Reads haven't seen your face since last year. But I digress. That is all we have for today. Thank you, special guest, Miss G,
Yes, of
for
course.
gracing us with your presence. What is on your TBR for August? Let us know, please. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.
Bye.